What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight? Boom. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Childish. We're back at it again with the second episode of Educate and Dominate. I'm here with my main man, my brother from another mother, Mr. NickDaGreek. Nick, say hi for me, please.
What's up, everybody? I guess Childish took my line for this video.
I got to, man. I got to.
So you got me there. You got me.
I have to because you were just talking about trying to run it. I'm like, no, I got this planned already. All right. So for those that are new to the channel, welcome to the channel. This series called Educate and Dominate is going to be basically tailored to our top names, our top guild members out there in the community. Getting an opportunity to do a one-on-one interview with them and get some insight from their eyes, from their theories, and provide you that in one video so that you can take this information and take your gameplay to the next level. So without further ado, what I'm going to go ahead and do is let NickDaGreek introduce himself. Get a little background for us, Nick, and then talk about your video gaming experience, kind of where you started and how you all got into Summoner's War.
What's up, everybody? Well, obviously everybody knows I have a YouTube channel, and I help out a lot of people in the game. And one of my goals with the game is so that, because I know a lot of people that get frustrated and they decide to quit the game because they don't have the right units. And, if you look at my list of monsters, yeah, I have some natural 5 stars, but I don't have the OP ones. And everybody knows that I work hard with my monsters. I try my best. I try to farm all the best. And I try to show everybody how to do that with my farmable monsters and the farmable teams and everything. I also try to prove that a lot of 2 stars are still worth making, even though people want the natural 5 stars and they want this and they want that. So I want to try and keep a community together, if everybody understands what I'm trying to say. I'd like to have a nice big community where everybody's nice to each other and everybody is like no quitters, and every day I'm dealing with somebody else that wants to quit for whatever reason. It's just too much work, or it's too much this, or it's too much that. How I started into video games, honestly, my first system was Atari.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, it was. I used to play Pong on Atari and the E.T. game and stuff like that. But honestly, one of the first games that really caught me was Final Fantasy II, which is Final Fantasy IV, really. And Final Fantasy II was what it was released as in the United States. And I always tell people that this game is Final Fantasy meets Pokemon. That's why I'm so addicted to this game.
Yeah.
It's because I was a Pokemon fan, and I was a huge Final Fantasy fan. People sit there and tell me the best Final Fantasy ever is Final Fantasy VII. But my thing is it's the game that got me started on it. And for me, it was Final Fantasy II. 2 and 3, or 4 and 6, as you want to call it. The actual orders are probably the best games they ever made. And yeah, I was a little too old to start playing Pokemon, but I started playing Pokemon as well. I was actually, when I first heard about Pokemon, I was in the hospital. I was 14 years old. I had surgery done on my back, and I had to stay in the hospital for a few days. And I just so happened to get hooked on Pokemon while I was in the hospital. And from there on, it's just I play first-person shooters. I used to play a lot of Xbox, but I like the mobile games a little better because, especially this one. This one's so good that when you develop a team, you can sit there and auto and try and improve yourself while not even paying attention to the game.
Right.
Like, I'm hearing echoes, Childish.
No, you're good.
Okay, I heard an echo. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So, that's what I like about the game is while I'm answering comments to people, I could be ordering B10 Giants or B10 Dragon or a board on TOA or something I want to do, or even while I'm don't do this, guys. But even while I'm driving, I'm ordering something, or even while I'm washing dishes, I'm ordering something. So there's always room to do something. You don't have to sit there and give your complete attention to the game.
For sure.
That's one of my favorite things about the game.
When you joined into the Summoner's War, I think you initially got into a guild that you created. Can you talk a little bit about that, and then how you moved over to your current guild today?
Well, no. When I first joined, how I joined was a friend of mine from Xbox actually told me about the game, and he was already in a guild, and I just went into that guild not knowing anything, completely blind to the game, and sooner or later, as I improved, I ended up becoming the vice guild leader. But just to keep it short, while I was in that guild, I was actually the one doing everything between recruiting and all that stuff, that eventually I wanted to start my own guild because the guild leader wasn't too active. So I ended up starting my own guild and gathering a group of people that I liked and that knew how to play the game and all that. And then, you know, all of a sudden, we had plans to get into to pretty much like come in like I don't know, like a freight train into the top 100. And my guild, at the time, one of my guildies was trolling the noobs, or trolling. I don't even remember his name anymore, man. He's changed his name so many times. I remember him as Blunt Man. Now I think he's trolling Nami, which I believe he's trolling Nami now. I call him Matt. Let's just call him Matt from here on.
All right.
So Matt, he ended up pulling the 2 Zyroses and started farming everybody and their mothers. He started attacking Cold Steel, William, and everybody. And I'm like, dude, you just you popped up a little early in the top 100. He's like, I don't care. We're gonna start fighting everybody. And then eventually we heard that Zypher was recruiting, and they ended up taking me, trolling one of my other friends, and somebody else to join Zypher. And from there on, we pretty much stayed. I like the group. They like me. You know, it's a good community. We don't really deal with any drama, to be honest with you. There is no real drama. Like, I hear all this drama with other guilds. We don't really care. We just play our game and move on. We don't sit on other people's problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely like that about Zypher. I'll tell you that much right now.
And so, with regards to Zypher, you have a lot of members in there that, you know, keep up there in the top 50 or whatnot. You know, in your opinion, since you know hang out with them quite a bit, you obviously know what is needed to kind of maintain that level. Do you find that you and your members have to constantly refresh wings, or is it something that could be maintained with like a stellar arena defense, or what, as far as Guardian 2, Guardian 3, and above?
Guardian 2, Guardian 3, to be honest with you, you don't have to. You do and you don't have to refill wings. It's a toss-up, you know. If you have a stellar defense, yeah, but there are some people in the top 100 that refill all day, and then like you've got people as great as William. If William doesn't play in the arena for a week, he's probably going to maintain Guardian 1 because he hasn't played the entire week. So technically, someone like him, he doesn't have to refill wings to stay in Guardian 1, but he's also the top player in the world. He's got the best runes. He's got the best everything, almost. But there are other players, yeah, they have to refill wings. Like, you'll see them the day after. They've already got 1,700 points, and they're in the top 10 of the arena, and that's because they're refilling wings, you know? There's a lot of people that do have to refill wings. So I'll be honest with you, there is no, and with all the competition that's going on out there, especially in the Asia server, it's crazy. People are moving around left and right, you know? Right now, the only thing I've seen is being able to hold Guardian 1 without playing the arena, your defense by itself, and probably from Guardian 1 to Conqueror 2, your defenses are able to hold, and that's about it. Other than that, I usually see people refill wings.
Gotcha.
So top 100, I think it's almost impossible to hold because there's just too many people moving around. Like, you have to look at it this way. If somebody doesn't play for a week and they can't hold Guardian 3, but everybody else is refilling wings, that's just the way it is. And then there's always ways to get around everything as well. There is no straight answer to this. I'm sorry to say, there really is no straight answer to this.
Right. All right, we'll move on to the next one. One of the things that people have kind of learned, you know, through the process of time watching people's videos, that, you know, when they get first started in the arena, you know, one of the quickest ways to kind of climb up into Conquer 1 is a speed-based team. And then, you know, moving into that, you know, Conquer 2, Conquer 3, you're seeing the trend kind of switch from the speedier teams to the tip point and tankier-based teams. One thing that's unique about you is you're able to utilize a speed team all the way through, in addition to all the other units you have. You've been able to, you know, set up your team to be able to kind of get past even some of the biggest, tankiest teams. So, in your opinion, obviously, I think we already know the answer to this. Is speed team still viable in the Guardian ranks?
Yeah, of course. Speed is everything. Speed is pretty. It really, really is everything. You can make speed tanky teams. You know, I have a couple of those as well. But, you know, let's put it this way. I'll give you the perfect example. Somebody, and it's not exactly perfect, but it's a good enough example. somebody turned around to me and showed me a picture of their friend's Lucian. And this Lucian was a complete beast, man. Like, I honestly, if it got a chance to go, my team wouldn't survive. But the problem with his Lucian was, with the rest of his monsters was, they were slow.
Right.
You know? So, if his Lucian didn't get a chance to go and my Lucian went before his did, his Lucian is dead. So, really, it's all about speed and having high attack, and then when you get to the tankier monsters, like I have a tanky fast team for defense, you know? I try to keep, when you get to the tankier side, just make sure your monsters aren't too slow. People believe that having all hit points, like 45,000 hit points, is gonna win things for you in the arena, which is not true, because if you have 45,000 hit points but you're a rock and you're not moving at all, there's no point in having it. So I honestly believe speed is the way to go. If you look at Williams' defense is tanky and really, really fast. We're talking about super fast. It's a full violent team with Vanessa speed leader, 33% speed lead, and everybody has 150 speed and up on that team.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is, everybody's getting 3 to 4 turns also on violent runes at a time, and if they don't violent proc once, they're gonna violent proc on the next turn. You know, so really, it's speed. Speed trumps everything, in my opinion.
Gotcha. All right. Well, how about this one for you? As far as one of the things I'll be asking, a lot of the interviewers that or the people that I interview in this video, everyone has their own kind of, outlook in the fight when it comes to arena offense, and that's some of the things that they consider when looking at an opponent and seeing, okay, if I can do it, if I can take him out or not. What are some of the things that you consider when fighting an opponent in the arena?
Well, first things I look at is the rank. First of all, when this is a hard question, Childish, because I've gotten to a certain point where I don't even look sometimes. I look at some things sometimes. Like, if I'm in a certain rank, I don't look at anything. I just say, okay, you're Conqueror. I'm going to outspeed you and out-attack you. So when I get to a certain point, like Guardian, yeah, I look at what monsters they have. I try to figure out what kind of speed they have. There's some people I really can't beat in the arena, and certain monsters I have problems with. Like right now, I'm having problems with Beast Monks, big problems with big Beast Monks, because they buff their own speed and they end up being a little too fast for comfort sometimes. Especially the ones with violent runes and that have 45,000 hit points. And then, see, monsters like that tend to bother me. But the main thing I look at is the elements and a way to get around it. Sometimes you have to bring a certain kind of tank. And you have to bring certain kinds of attackers. The way the meta is right now, it's a little weird. The meta has actually completely changed on me. About a month ago, it was all fire defenses everywhere. Now you're seeing, because of Veromos, the meta has completely changed, and you got to look at a lot of things. You pretty much got to look at speed, who they have. You got to look at if they got will runes or not. And then the will runes becomes a big surprise sometimes, and then you got to look at what kind of buffs they have. So there's like a million things you got to think of before you go into an arena battle in certain stages, especially in Guardian stage. You can't mess around with those guys because there's just, I always look, the first thing I look for is the leader ability, who they have as a leader. That's pretty much my main goal, my main thing is who their leader is. And then from there on, we work it out. What elements they have, how it's gonna go. If there's like a Perna, I try to bring a reset, a cooldown reset monster. If there's like the Beast Monks, sometimes I gotta toss it up with that one. If they have like Arnold or Chloe, like if they have Chloe, you have to bring a buff remover. If they have monsters that do a lot of debuffs on their team, you gotta bring immunity. There's just so much to look at. It's such a broad question, Yep. But the first thing to always look at is what their speed, what their leader is, what the leader ability is, and then you work it from there on.
Right. And then how about like when you get into that fight, sometimes you look at the team, from the menu and like, oh, okay, this looks this and that, they got a defense breaker, let me take him out or do this, do that. But then you get into the fight and you noticed, the attack gauge on the opposing team, and sometimes what generally is a speedier unit is a lot slower. They spec it wrong or spec it differently, and then sometimes you find yourself fighting somebody that generally the unit will be kind of slow and they're way more fast, because their attack gauge is ready to go, after your Bernard. So can you elaborate on that real quick?
That's not a bad question. Well, the whole thing with Bernard, that's a little that's how do I explain it now? I don't really use Bernard for situations like what you're talking about. There's two different situations. Usually with my Bernard goes first, and I try and get my entire team to go first. But there is situations like what you're talking about where I end up running into a slow monster and it messes up with my attack order, and I actually bring Beladion for situations like that. Beladion has that heal with the attack bar buff.
Right.
He increases the attack bar by 30%. So if I notice, such as Veromos, he's a little slower than expected, but he ends up going in between my Beladion's turns and my Theomar's turns, I'll end up wasting my Beladion's heal so I can change the attack order of the opposing team.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Very nice. All right. How about the question that I was talking about earlier with regards to accuracy versus resistance? It's made numerous amounts of change over the course of this game, and some people that are new to the channel, both yours and mine, really don't understand, what all goes into the accuracy and resistance of the of skills and whatnot, and landing hostile effects. Can we talk about that?
All right. Well, first of all, having 100% accuracy is a complete waste. Complete and utter waste. From what I've read from articles from beginning until now, 85% accuracy is pretty much the cap out where you should be looking for. Okay. And the reason why is because all monsters start with 15% resistance. Now, in my opinion, though, and remember, this is just my opinion before anybody starts writing crazy things on Childish's page, I think it's all RNG. I don't think you really need more than 50, 60, 70% accuracy tops, because even monsters with 100% resistance, you can land debuffs with monsters that have 20% accuracy. So it all really has to do with RNG, in my opinion. So I don't look at, I do look at accuracy. I try to make sure my monsters have above 50% accuracy. Other than that, anything above 75 to 85% is a waste, in my opinion. And you can get better stats with better substats with other things than having accuracy. So really, it's a toss-up. There really isn't, the game doesn't give you too much information, and it constantly changes, in my opinion. Like, especially in dungeons. Before, the dungeon monsters or even the crystals at the bosses, they couldn't land debuffs on monsters that had 100% accuracy. Then Comtuous went and changed it, and all of a sudden your monsters with 100% accuracy are worthless because they're landing debuffs on them. So it's really one of those trick questions where you really, there's no straight answer other than it's all RNG. It's all done by a random number generator, and 100% accuracy and 100% resistance mean nothing.
Gotcha. All right, then let's dive into Trial of Ascension. We just recently had the new Trial of Ascension release. What's your thoughts on that? How do you like it versus the first one? And did you have any struggles climbing up with certain levels?
I had struggles on floor 92 with the Infernos, believe it or not. Now I tried to prove to somebody that my speed team worked on floor 80, and for some reason the first time I did it while I was climbing up, it worked perfectly fine. And now that I'm trying to prove it, it doesn't work. So my speed team doesn't always work, but climbing up the first time around wasn't a big issue. I actually kind of like the new Trial of Ascension. It's a little bit of a refresher because it got kind of stale before. It was the same thing over and over again. The thing about this Trial of Ascension, the monsters, the boards look really, really scary. Like the boss monsters, the boss boards. Like we're talking about the one with the Dark Pioneer, and I forgot what's with him, and then there's the other one with Veromos, the Dark Ifrit, and 2 Pernas and 2 Huadams, the Light Taoists. Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, how are people going to beat this on hard?
Right.
And yeah, it looks scary, but I think it's capable of being done. I honestly believe that this Trial of Ascension is a little easier, and when people are going to sit there and tell me how is it easier, these monsters are crazy. Honestly, guys, if you guys tried to do Trial of Ascension the very first time around, and then you're doing it now, there is a humongous difference. They are trying to get everybody to keep up with the content, and that's why I think they didn't change Trial of Ascension hard. It's still the old boss and still the old everything. I think they're trying to help people to catch up because they're coming up with new content. So in my opinion, it's actually a little easier than what it was before, especially now that they don't have floor 94, where that was the light Sylphid, the two light Inugamis and the two light Garudas, because that was a very hard board for a lot of people as well. And then one of my old brick walls was the board with Leo, the two Fire Vamps, and the two Dark Griffins, because I'm based on speed and Leo just kills most of my teams. You know, so I honestly believe it's a little easier this time around.
You want to hear something hilariously funny? I have one of your videos, your arena videos or whatnot, the one that you have the brick wall going.
Oh yeah.
I kid you not. The second you said brick wall, that picture or that like little typing part that you said brick wall in the video came up. Like, how crazy is that? You're gonna laugh your ass off when you see it. But
yeah, I have a knack for doing that sometimes. I think it's like a sixth sense or something.
It's nasty. It's nasty. So let's see here. So with regards to Trial of Ascension normal, Trial of Ascension hard, there's quite a bit of difference. Some say the ability to bring units that provide a little bit of crowd control. Some say the ability to bring units that have the dots is very beneficial. I kind of want to elaborate on some of the new units that are out there. We got some of the units that have damage. If damage gets increased with the harmful effects their damage increases if they have harmful effects on it. Do you think those can be viable? An example I'll throw out there is like the Wind Ifrit.
The Wind Ifrit, I believe, is extremely viable for Trial of Ascension, especially for newer players. I really like him for newer players. Someone like me who already has certain things down packed, I don't need him. But somebody like a newer player that doesn't have like Lucian or something like that to ignore defense, I honestly believe the Wind Ifrit is a very good monster for them, especially like if you pair him up with one of the what's that, the Hemos, what's the monster called, the Grim Reaper.
Yeah,
if you pair him up with someone like the Grim Reaper and you like the Wind Ifrit, for instance, I've seen the Wind Ifrit do over 30k damage between his second skill, or is it his third skill? I don't remember which one it is.
Third skill.
The third skill, but it hits twice, so I've seen 15k times 2 twice. So I definitely think the Wind Ifrit is a great monster. People actually underrate him drastically because we've been like the Guardian players and the Conqueror 3 players, we've been playing for a long time, so we don't need him. But I think for a newer player, the Wind Ifrit is a great monster. A lot of utility going on with him.
Good deal. All right. Let's bounce into the Kairos dungeon. One of the things that beginners that are going to be listening to this is, once they start getting those first couple of units, they realize the value of awakening the units, and they, start getting into farming essences or whatnot. In your opinion, for like maybe a level range for like beginner people and intermediate people, what do you feel, from B1 to B10, as far as like Hall of Magic, Hall of Fire, whatever? What is the most efficient one to go to? Like, do you prefer doing B10s for everybody, or do you prefer B7? I mean, what do you like to do?
I actually do B10 a lot. I sometimes do B6 for mids.
Okay.
But other than that, I tend to do a lot of B10. I think that's the best way to get everything that you need, especially when you're trying to do like essence farming for highs. B10 is the way to go, because B7, you'll be sitting there wasting a whole day and all your energy for nothing, sometimes just for highs. And it's like, I know the drop rate between B6 and B7 for highs is drastically different, and you can actually get them. But I can farm 20 highs in about an hour and a half in B10, as opposed to B7 farming 20 highs the whole day.
Right. Okay.
How about, and as far as for newcomers, I really don't think they should be essence farming a lot in the beginning, because especially for a 4-star monster, unless they're doing B7, it could take them weeks of farming B6 just to do B7. I think it's more important for newcomers to evolve monsters just to be able to farm B7s.
Gotcha. All right, that definitely got some good insight there. And when it comes to, after you get those, units leveled up, awakened and whatnot, you realize that how do I say, your ability to progress in the game is going to, weigh heavily on the amount of runes you got. So you need to get into, the giants farming and the dragons farming and whatnot. With regards to clearing a zone, what do you think is the most important? A consistent clear with a particular zone, or a quick clear?
Consistent and clear and quick at the same time.
Right.
That's the wrong question to ask me.
There you go, consistent and quick. So let's put it, for example, if you got somebody that's we got all these videos coming out nowadays. How do you farm, or how do you farm Giants B10 or whatever? Everyone's trying to get Giants B10. Should they be focused on getting Giants B10, or can they get away with doing Giants B8 and Giant B9 with good success?
I actually recently read in an article where somebody tested out your 6-star drop rates on B8, B9, and B10, and I believe it's a 1% drop rate to get on B8 to get a 6-star rune. It's a 2% drop rate to get a 6-star rune on B9, and it's a 3.5% drop rate to get a 6-star rune on B10. So the actual chances are 3 times greater to get a 6-star rune in B10, and I think everybody's goal should be B10, but the thing is, they really need consistency over speed in the beginning now, because you wanna eventually get there, start farming B10, and if you're manualing it, you have to get the runes from B10 to start autoing it. There is no quick and easy way on how to get to B10 either. You have to farm slowly, like you have to start at B3, B4, and then move on to B6. B5, B6, and then move on to B8 and B9, and then move on to B10. Certain teams, though, can farm all the boards, as I proved it in some of my videos. But there is no easy way to do it. I have a lot of people tell me I can farm B6, but I want to do B10. How do I do that? And I tell them farm B6 so you can do B7 and B8 so you can get to B10. That's how I did it. A lot of people were spoiled too. I'm going to mention one. Actually, Childish, you weren't one of the spoiled ones. You were using the double quad method, right? You didn't do the imps.
I had only one Hua. I didn't have two. No, yeah.
So you were doing the imps?
I did the imps for a very, very small amount of time. I was very, very frustrated. Didn't do it too much because it just wasn't reliable. I mean, I couldn't get the runes for my imps to be able to make it successful, so I rarely did it. I just focused on the Giants B6 and B7 that I could do.
See, one of the biggest nerfs one of the biggest things that happened to a lot of players, especially me, people were farming B10 Giants with 3 imps. If you remember, I'm sure you remember.
Oh yeah.
And I personally didn't like it because I'm sitting there farming it with 2 Huas, and it was just too easy for people to progress at some point doing B10. And people skipped doing even B5, and they went all the way to B10 with the imps. And that just kind of messed up the game at some point, where people were just popping up out of nowhere. But when they changed the Giants runs, I actually got kind of screwed, and I couldn't farm B10 for a month, and I had to make my Giants team afterwards. The team that I'm currently using, it took me about a month to make it because I couldn't farm B10 anymore. I was able to farm B9, but I couldn't farm B10 anymore at all. So the whole thing about that, what was the question again? I got kind of lost there.
I think we were talking about we were talking about a lot of things, but we got into a lot of things. It's all good. I think that I just think the take-home message, with regards to getting into this is just the consistent clears versus the quick clears. You kind of elaborated on that, and then talking about the farming and trying to be, is it reliable?
Oh yeah, is it worth farming B? Yeah, if you can do B8 and that's the top board, you can do B8 then. Yeah, is it worth farming B8, B9, or B10? Okay. Yeah, if you could do B8, do B8. If you could do B9, you do B9. If you could do B10, you're golden.
Right.
You're pretty much golden. Right. Everybody's goal should be to do B10 though.
Gotcha.
To be fully honest with everybody, everybody's goal should be B10.
Okay, so the next one is going to be a good question for you because you already got a good funny story to tell me. Talking about secret dungeon farming versus regular farming, you've talked about this numerous times in your channel, and I believe that was, one of the videos that you made kind of put you on the map as far as your YouTube channel. So before we get into that, can you, kind of start fresh with the people that are, currently trying to YouTube or whatnot, kind of give a brief overview of your YouTube channel and then talk about those first initial videos that put you on the map?
Sure. Well, first things first, whoever is trying to come up with a YouTube channel or do something, everybody should have like a niche to themselves. Like I have a niche of making farmable teams, and I tend to have certain videos. Like I was making videos in the beginning, and they were getting no views whatsoever, arena videos and stuff like that. And then I started making farming videos, and people actually liked my farming videos. And I had a few videos, and I was telling Childish before we started the video, I had to get something off my chest just to let him know before we started this video. Childish actually sent me a message one day and told me, how in the world did you get 1,500 views overnight on this one certain video? And I told him, and this is pretty much what I told him, if you can clear certain dungeons in 2 minutes, people are going to want to see it. But then we got into talking about a few other things, and we talked about farming and secret dungeon farming, and between secret dungeon farming and buying mana and doing stuff and farming fodder and doing all that stuff. And it was like, and you were asking me all these questions, and I'm sitting there saying, no, it shouldn't be done this way, and it should be done this way, and all this stuff. And then I came up with an idea to make that video, how to farm like a pro, which that video has to be redone, by the way. I'm going to redo it, but how to farm like a pro. And that video actually went kind of viral. That was my first video to hit 10,000 views, and now it's got like 130,000 views or something. I can't believe it. And I get a lot of, that video was a very broad video, and there were a few mistakes that I made with that video. I have to redo it, but that is the video that put me on the map. And then I started making other videos, farmable teams, and proving that my farmable teams can work. And I pretty much, guys, anybody that has any opinion to make in their YouTube channel and what they want to do when they have a niche is, yeah, sit there, give your advice, but you have to back it up. You have to be able to prove it. If you can't prove it, nobody's going to believe you. That's what my thing is. I try to keep it real with my videos, I try to make sure that if I say something, I can prove it. There are some things that are opinion-based, and I can't prove them, but it's all done through experience. And I try to prove every single one of my moves on my videos to make sure that people understand what I'm trying to what I'm trying to do.
Gotcha. Cool.
And my main goal with my YouTube channel is actually to help people. I mean, it is to make money, guys. Don't think it's not to make some money. All right, just keeping it real with everybody. But it is also to help people to improve in the game. I don't want to see people quitting the game. I want this game to last. Yeah,
very, very cool. All right, and let's see here. Wanted to kind of get into just a funny one. This is the one you're supposed to have a story, so we'll see if you got it. As you know, my guild is the Epic Fail guild, and one of the things that we like to do in our summoning sessions is when people summon with us, they have to share an epic fail story. So I need your best epic fail story when it comes to Summoners World. What was the biggest failure you ever had in the game?
I can't. I haven't really thought about that, to be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure about my biggest fail. I have a lot of fails. Yeah. They're just not. I can't think of the biggest one. Like I'll give you a small story. It has to do. It doesn't have to do with the game. It has to do with me giving advice to people.
All right.
When you get up in the morning, you go into the bathroom, and I take my phone to the bathroom, okay? So anyways, that's besides the point. And I'm looking through my messages on my phone, and I'm like half asleep now, and I'm answering messages, and I think I told somebody to put despair runes on Belladillon one time. and the guy answered me, he's like, despair runes, are you sure? And I read the message afterwards, I'm like, no, violent runes, man, you called me. I had just woken up, I typed anything to him, and that's pretty much one of my epic fails. Right. In game, a lot of people have I foddered Chloe epic fail, and you know what? Right. I'm a hoarder, so I never pulled off one of those epic fails where I foddered a monster that ended up being really good. If you look at my storage right now, I have so many worthless 4-stars in there that I don't even want to work on because I'm afraid they're gonna buff them later. So. I can't really think of any huge epic fails.
All right, not too bad. I think the Despair Belladillon was a good one. I'll take that one for sure. And then also within our channel, we also have a series going on called Underrated and Overlooked, where we kind of showcase certain units that definitely get overlooked for the course of time and could be very, very valuable, for the gaming today. Some of the big ones that were, at the very part of the game that no one really talked about was the light-based, Beladion, Darien. Obviously those now have blown up out of proportion. In your eyes today, with regards to the current meta and whatnot, take that all in consideration. What do you feel is probably one of the most underrated and overlooked units?
I honestly still think Shannon, the Wind Pixie, is one of the most underrated and overlooked units. I still get messages till today. I don't want to work on Shannon. I want to put Delphoid in my B10 Giants team, or I want to use somebody else for Trial of Ascension. I don't want to work on Shannon. I still think Shannon, the Wind Pixie, is one of the most underrated and overlooked monsters by lower level players. By higher level players end up understanding that monster and what is the importance of it. But yeah, I really do believe Shannon is probably the most underrated and overlooked monster in the game.
And you made a comment where you said it was about the beginners definitely don't want to do Shannon. You obviously got a vast experience in the top end, and you got quite a few 6-stars, so a lot of experience. What do you think as far as the higher end, if there is a unit, what would that unit be and why?
As far as the higher end, underrated and overlooked, the higher end. And the higher end, I run into a lot of people that don't want to build Seek in the higher, in Conqueror status, like Conqueror 3, Conqueror 2. I actually do run into a lot of people that don't want to build Seek.
That you couldn't have picked a better one. I still cringe every time I watch your videos or YDC videos and I see you crit, double attack for like 20k or 15k a pop. It's crazy. Like I'm like that's more than any of my regular units. It makes me look stupid. I'm like, damn, dude, I gotta get me some of that. But I have too many other things to work on. So how about
Seek? You really should build Seek, man. Seek changed my whole arena experience and my PvE experience in certain boards as well. Right. You really should build them, Childish. You really should.
I probably will. I got a couple of things, dude. So here's my epic fail for the interview, so that you don't feel alone. I still have yet to this day fused the Dark Ifrit, and it wasn't really because I was just lazy. Like I didn't get all the pieces, so I was kind of waiting for a while, but I didn't realize that two of the pieces that I needed were farmable units, and of course I'd farmed them. But I threw them away to some other, to 6-star somebody else. I didn't even realize it until I got rid of them. So, stupid me. But right now I'm trying to get that Wind Vampire going. I need the Wind Minotaurus, and still haven't been able to get him to pop in that zone. So I think it's Chiruka Runes or some remains or whatever.
But, yeah, the last board, right?
Yeah, last one. But
are you doing hell modes?
No. I mean, I could, but I'm trying to farm. I'm trying to level up units, and obviously hell mode at that stage is very, very hard, and you generally have to bring, a couple extra, 6-star units to get it done. I'm trying to make it as efficient as possible. So I'm just utilizing one farmable unit or one farming unit and 3 fodder to level up and get a chance. So I might have to try the hell mode. Maybe that'll help me out a little bit.
Yeah, I think hell mode you'll be able to get him.
Okay. I'll definitely try it out after this. As far as the underrated and overlooked go for the rune type, what is your most underrated and overlooked rune type and why?
That's a good question. I'd say Nemesis runes.
Good choice.
Nemesis runes. Even I thought they were bullshit in the beginning, but when you actually think about it, Nemesis runes aren't bad for like the tanky monsters that you don't want to put speed on them, and you're looking for like speed substats, like healers and stuff like that, such as the Wind Archangel or the Water Archangel or Talc, the Water Mammoth. They're actually very good runes because you want them, because people usually try to kill them so they don't heal or they don't revive or they don't try and do something. And they're actually pretty good monsters, especially when everybody's focusing their attack. Pretty good runes when everybody's trying to focus attack on them. And the Nemesis rune actually boosts their attack bar so that they can either heal themselves or revive a teammate or anything like that. So I believe that Nemesis runes are probably one of the most overlooked runes and underrated as well.
Good deal. All right, my man, we're pretty much wrapped up. I kind of want to give you an opportunity to bust out some information with regards to your channel, in addition to any and all social media stuff like that you use.
Right now, I'm trying to get a Twitter account going and start putting out messages on Twitter for new videos. I have a Facebook fan page. It's facebook.com/watch NickDaGreek. Obviously, I have the YouTube channel. I am trying to get. I'm actually working on a website. I can't really talk about it right now. It's not my personal website. I was approached by some creators that are making a website, and they have certain video games that they're doing right now, and they are actually absorbing another website. I'm going to be announcing that when the website comes out, though, and because we're actually working on a lot of things, a lot of articles, and a lot of different things that we're working on, and me and Oh My God Bomber are actually working on it together.
Cool.
And I'll be doing an announcement for that later on this month, probably, and that's what's to look for in the future. And that website is going to have pretty much everything everybody wants on monsters. I'm also going to be making videos specific for that website, so people are going to be able to watch my YouTube page and watch my videos even while they're cruising through that website. And that website's going to have some broad details, and then my YouTube channel is going to have all of like the in-depth detail and everything people are actually looking for. So we're trying to create one big, huge community for everybody with that website. It's going to have its own forums and stuff like that as well. And the other website that they are absorbing is actually a pretty popular website that a lot of people use already. So guys, look around for that announcement. It's probably not going to be announced for another month from now.
Okay. Sounds good. How about any shout-outs? You want to give any shout-outs to any of your guild members or anybody like that?
I want to give shout-outs to a lot of people. My old guild, Smoke, Doc Ward, Bazatron, Burnt, even though Burnt is a witch. Skizler, stop with the whole female gamer pick, please. You're a guy. And I'd like to give everybody in Zypher a shout out. William, Cold Steel, Trolling Nami, everybody pretty much in Zypher. I'd like to give a shout out to my girlfriend Ellie if she's watching this, and that's about it.
All right, man. Well, hey, thanks again for taking the time to make this video for us. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure to chat with you over the course of the last month and a half and 2 months. Actually, I think it's been, talking about all aspects of the game. I've learned quite a bit from you, sir.
Thank you, Childish. Thank you for having me.
All right. So again, guys, thank you all for tuning in. It's your boy Childish and NickDaGreek with ChildishPlays checking out. Take care. We'll see you next time. We're out.